everyone. So, we're in a new series on how to support your spouse or anyone else that you're in a relationship with in their type specifically. So, in the next couple of days, we're going to go through all 9 types and how you can support them. So, how do you support your type 1? Well, first, recognize that they have a loud inner critic that is constantly berating them or assaulting them with all the imperfections of the world, themselves, and trying to make sure that they fix it, whether they fix it or they get someone else to fix it. And so you're going to feel sometimes that they're kind of nitpicky or critical or judging, but a lot of that's because it's happening so much inside them that it's spilling outward. So be curious, asking them how you can support them. Take on responsibilities and help them to check off things on a list. Encourage them by affirming them how they are trying to do things in a good, ethical, and moral way. Thank them for how they have procedures and how they get things done in a systematic way. But also reflect back to them what Christ has done for them, that He has forgiven them of their sins and given them His righteousness, so that they can have an ease of conscience and a peace of heart. So, how do you help your type 2? By encouraging and supporting them. Well, they are great supporters, right? So, they really would love for people to support them. Now, they might deflect it back onto you and try to help you and you not help them, but don't let them do it. Surprise them with thoughtfulness and helpfulness. Think about what have they said and done that indicates what they like, whether it's of service, gifts, maybe a big hug. What is it that they've demonstrated or showed you that they would love in return? Because they're always thinking about what others want. Maybe you can ask them to write down a list of all the things that in the future they would love for you to think about, but it may not be your strength. And so if you have them write down a list, use that in the future from time to time to think of how can you surprise them with one of the things on the list. Therefore, you're being thoughtful of them even if you don't have the same superpower they have, is knowing what others want or need. But also tell them how much you appreciate them, how much you see them caring for you, but also get them to go take care of themselves, just like Christ took care of Himself. We need the twos to get away, to refresh themselves so that when they're helping, it's out of not obligation and they feel like they must, but it's out of an overflow of being refreshed and renewed. Now, they might have a hard time doing that, but be insistent with love and compassion and gratitude towards them. So, how do you support your type 3 in your life? Well, first, lots of encouragement is super helpful, but we also want to be specific on the things that we're proud of them for. But more importantly, we want to tell them that whether they achieve or not achieve, that we love them for exactly who they are, and to reflect back what we see in them. But we also want to remind them that Christ loves them for exactly who they are, that it's His achievements that they have now, that they don't have to earn to gain status and love and worth from Him. They already have it. But also, they would love to have a peaceful environment where they can stay focused and check off the tasks on their list. It really is hard for them when they're constantly disrupted. So ask them, when is it that you are really focused? And tell me how long. Put a note on the door or a sticker, or can I give you a text in 15, 20 minutes to tell you that it's time for dinner? Those kind of indications show them that you care about their time to stay focused and to achieve things, but inviting them into relationship. So talking it through, setting up a plan is really going to help them to have a relationship and to feel supported. So how can you support the type 4 in your life? Well, we want to show them that we see them and are wanting to understand them for exactly who they are. Now, a lot of times we don't understand them fully, but that's where we can invite them to express themselves with creativity and depth of emotions. But also when we see them having emotional balance, where they are expressing all the emotions they have in a way that we can translate and understand, is super rich and beautiful. So thank them for that. And thank them for the time that they have in expressing who they are and the things that they see around them that we might not be able to see without their creative insights and knowledge. But also give them the space to express what's going on inside them. Support them by listening, being patient, and being steady. For a 4, their feelings can feel like a tsunami at times, and for us to have the compassion and the desire to be there for them would mean a lot for them. But also point them back to the person who absolutely understands them completely, which is Christ, who created them to be exactly who they are, and that He sees them and loves them for all the creativity, depth, and insight that they have. So move towards your 4, express your own feelings and desires in new and fresh ways that really connect with them, and you will see them feeling very supported. So, how do you help the type 5 in your life? Well, recognize that 5s have an internal battery for relationship, that the energy that they have, not a physical energy, but a relational, interpersonal energy, only has about 20 to 25% each and every day. Whereas maybe extroverts have a lot more, especially when they start interacting, it revs it up. But 5s only have so much inner resources to interact with others each day. So ask them often, hey, where's your battery life right now? How can I help you to either conserve or replenish so that we can do the next thing, so that we can have interaction? How can I support you? Do you need to go away to recharge? Do you need to think and process your thoughts and feelings alone? And if so, how much time do you think you need? But also, if you need something from a 5, give them a heads up, as much of a heads up as you possibly can give them, because intrusions and surprises and a lot of obligations can be very overwhelming and taxing to them. So a good heads up is really important. But also, make your conversations straightforward and to the point. Think bullet points. That would be so helpful for them. A long, emotional conversation that drags on and on can be really tiring for the type 5. Let the type 5 lead the conversation in these short snippet conversations, and also ask them about the things that they love and are passionate about, and you will see a stream of consciousness that will amaze you and educate you all at the same time, which shows them great support and delight that you care about the things that they enjoy. So, how do you support the type 6 in your life? Well, first and foremost, be a trustworthy person, a committed person, a person who's willing to do whatever is needed to show loyalty and commitment. 6's desire to know they're safe and secure and that there's someone that they can trust. And you need to be that person by not talking about them behind their back, by being straightforward and honest, and asking them how you can help them and support them. But also not to judge them or put them down when they're feeling anxious. Remember, they have an inner committee that is constantly chiming in from different directions, causing a lot of confusion and chaos. Show them that they have a lot of discernment and that they can trust themselves with the Holy Spirit guiding them. Cheer them on when you see them having a lot of courage, because 6s are the most courageous on the Enneagram, but they don't know it because of the inner committee. But each and every day, even though they can see what could happen, they move forward with confidence. They may not feel it, but it's true. So reflect that back to them. And most importantly, guide them with loving kindness and support and help. Always have their back. Be there and be supportive, cheering them on even when they have anxiety without judgment. So how can you support the type 7 in your life? Well, encouragement, and affirmation are all really great things for the 7. 7s have a really hard time when they feel trapped, when there's emotional pain and conflict. They do not enjoy that, or mundane tasks. So let's say you have to do a mundane task with a type 7. Make it fun and creative. Change it up a little bit. Maybe you have to do the budget. Why not have a milkshake while you're doing it? Or something creative or fun. Or maybe you have someone in your life that hates doing laundry, but we got to do laundry. Well, how do we make it fun? It doesn't have to be the best thing on the planet, but change it up and introduce something that is exciting for the 7 versus something boring and mundane. Also, recognize that 7s have an insatiable desire to fill themselves up with excitement and stimulation. How can you join them? How can you be a fun companion in going along with things that will really excite them and make them feel that they're supported and a part of? But 7s do have deep emotions, and a lot of times people think, well, they're not serious or they don't have problems. They do, but a lot of times it's hard for them to be vulnerable. So instead of assuming that they're always happy and they never have struggles, recognize they do and be there for them if they need someone to talk to. Not trying to force them into a dark space, but allowing them to know, hey, you can tell me what's going on and I'm here for you. I'm not going to pressure you to go too deep, but if you need someone, I'm here. But if you also want to go and have some fun and it's too much of a conversation for you, then we'll shift and we'll go there. But be a steady presence for a 7 and encouraging them when they go into those deep parts that you are impressed with them and that you are supporting them each and every step of the way. How do you support the type 8 in your life? Well, be truthful, be honest, be direct, be confident, and stand firm in what you believe is true. Now, this might not feel natural to a lot of you, but it's absolutely important when we're supporting the type 8s in our life. Why? They fear being betrayed and that you might tell a half truth, or maybe you're talking in a way that's manipulative or just not being completely honest, or trying to be too happy or kind or soft. All of that indicates, are you about to blindside me, control me, or harm me? Because they don't know maybe where you're coming from. So being honest, authentic, straightforward, and blunt is actually the best way to deal with an 8. Of course, doing it tactfully with love and kindness, but they really want to know where you're coming from, face on. And they want to know that you're going to support them, you're going to encourage them, especially when they're vulnerable. When a type 8 brings out their vulnerability and their tenderness, absolutely cheer them on, listen to them, and thank them for being vulnerable and real with you. Now, 8s are great at being transparent and honest, but being vulnerable is a whole nother ballground. So when you see them being vulnerable, encourage it and also thank them. But encourage them that Christ is the stronghold, that He is the fortress and refuge for them, and encourage them to go to Him for real protection and safety. So, how do you support the type 9 in your life? Affirmation, affirmation, affirmation. You can't support a 9 more enough with affirmation. Really, because 9s have a hard time seeing themselves. It's a big fog inside. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to see ourselves through other people's eyes. Do you think well of me? Do you not? And so the more you can affirm them, even in the littlest things, it gets them like, oh, you like that? Okay, great. I can see that too. Let me move forward in that. But if you show them something that's not good, or you put them down, or shame them, they will not only think that, but probably tenfold. And so the more you can find things to affirm and to encourage, even if it's the littlest thing, it really means the world to them because it means that you saw them. Their presence mattered, their voice mattered, the characteristic, the thing they did mattered. You saw them. A lot of 9s think their presence doesn't matter. So demonstrating in one form or another that their presence and voice matter means the world to them. So think of all the ways that you can demonstrate their presence and voice matters and live that out with them, especially with affirmation. Now we're not talking about flattery and stoking the flame, but real honesty. It could be even just like, hey, I'm so thankful that you picked that up off the ground, or thank you so much that you picked the dry cleaning up, that you were thoughtful of me. I can see how tender you are. I thank you for being peaceable and kind and steady. Any of those things means the world to a 9. They hope it does, but they don't know if anyone sees it. So reflecting back to the 9, the good qualities, you'll see them coming out more and more and more. And they're going to feel a surge of confidence and assurance to move forward. So support your type 9 through love and encouragement, softness and tenderness, and you will see great things coming.